Good afternoon, class. Islam is one of the largest religions in the world. More than 1.5 billion people follow. So when we talk about Islam, we talk about real people, real families, and real cultures. Our goal in this video is to show Islam as both a religion and a way of life. We want you guys to understand what Muslims believe, how they practice, and how Islam shapes culture across many different regions in the world. We also want you to understand how much diversity exists within this faith. Islam is global. It is practiced in Asia, Africa, Europe, and the Americas.
Our project explains core beliefs of Islam, the 5 pillars, major holidays, sacred texts, sacred traditions, and the difference between Sunni and Shia. We want to clear up stereotypes and highlight Islam's contributions to the world.
The word Islam comes from an Arabic root that means submission to God. A follower of Islam is a Muslim. Muslims believe in one God called Allah in Arabic. The belief in one God is called Tawhid. This belief sets a foundation for everything else.
Muslims accept angels. They accept revealed books. They believe God sent guidance through prophets from Adam to Noah to Abraham to Moses to Jesus and finally to Muhammad. Muslims believe Muhammad is the last messenger.
They believe in a final judgment where every person answers to their actions. They believe God knows all things, but people still have responsibility for the choices that they make. Islam is not small. It is a major world religion with followers in many cultures and languages.
Muslims follow practices that shape daily life. These practices build discipline, charity, and focus on God. The 5 pillars are the center of Muslim life.
Pillar 1 is the Shahada. This is the declaration of faith. There is no God but God, and Muhammad is the messenger of God.
Pillar 2 is Salah. Muslims pray 5 times each day. They face Mecca during prayer. Prayer builds routine and focus.
Pillar 3 is Zakat. Muslims give a share of their money to people in need. This supports the community and reduces greed.
Pillar 4 is Swam. This is the fast during Ramadan. Muslims stop eating and drinking from sunrise to sunset. This builds self-control and empathy. Pillar 5 is Hajj. This is a pilgrimage to Mecca. Muslims go at least once, and if they have health and money to travel.
Islam also teaches honesty, charity, patience, and respect for parents. Modesty in clothing is encouraged. Pork and alcohol are not allowed. Family and community are important.
Islam is built on 5 core pillars that guide a Muslim's faith in daily life. And one of the most visible of these pillars is Salah, the formal prayer. This video presents how Muslims carry out this act of worship in real life. Salah requires physical and spiritual preparation, starting with purification and facing the Kaaba in Mecca. The prayer begins with standing and reciting verses from the Quran, then movements through a series of bowing and prostrating positions that symbolize humility and devotion to God. These movements, including the kneeling and bowing seen in the video, are repeated in organized units and reflect the believer's commitment to one of Islam's most essential practices. The video highlights how Salah isn't just a concept, it's a daily ritual that brings the pillar of faith into action.
Islam has major holidays that bring family and communities together. Eid al-Fitr happens at the end of Ramadan. This is where families celebrate the month of fasting with food, prayer, and charity.
Eid al-Adha connects with the pilgrimage and honors the story of Abraham. It focuses on sacrifice, charity, and care for the people in need. Ramadan itself is a major religion month. It is time for fasting, reflection, prayer, and discipline.
The Quran is the central book of Islam. Muslims believe it is the direct word of God revealed to Muhammad over 23 years. It has 114 chapters. It teaches the oneness of God, justice, honesty, charity, and guidance for your daily life. It includes stories of earlier prophets, rules for family life, and reminders about accountability and the final judgment.
Another important source is the Hadith. These are reports of what the Prophet Muhammad said and did. One major collection is the Sahih al-Bukhari. Scholars use Hadith to understand how Muhammad lived the teachings of the Quran. The Quran is the foundation. The Hadith shows how to apply these teachings.
Islam is not just one culture. Only about 1/5 of Muslims live in Arab countries. Most Muslims live in Indonesia, South Africa, South Asia, and other regions. Clothing, food, music, and traditions are different in each place. Still, shared values exist. Respect for family, care for people in need, modesty, community life. Many celebrations include big meals and large gatherings. The faith is the same, but culture adds flavor, language, and style.
After the Prophet Muhammad died in 632, Muslims needed to choose a leader. This caused a disagreement. Sunnis believed the leader should be chosen by the community. They supported Abu Bakr. Shia Muslims believed leadership should stay in the Prophet's family, so they supported Ali. Sunnis make up most of the Muslim population. Shia Muslims are the majority in Iran and have large communities in Iraq, Lebanon, and South Asia.
Both groups believe in the same God. Both follow the Quran. Both pray, fast, give charity, and go on pilgrimage. Their daily life looks similar in many ways. Many communities live together and share holidays. Some differences come from history and politics rather than belief.
People often misunderstand Islam, so we need to correct some common mistakes. Islam does not support violence. The faith rejects murder and terrorism. Jihad often references to a personal struggle to do good. Not all Muslims are Arab. The largest Muslim population is in Indonesia. Muslims do not worship Muhammad, they worship God alone.
Women have rights to property, inheritance, and consent in marriage. Some restrictions come from culture or law, not from the religion itself. Sharia means path. It guides ethics, prayer, family life, and finance. It is not one single legal code.
Muslim scholars shaped math, medicine, astronomy, and philosophy. They developed algebra, they improved medical tools, and built early hospitals. Muslims mapped the stars and preserved ancient knowledge. These contributions still affect science and education today.
Islam is more than belief. It shapes culture, family, community, and daily routine. This faith influences art, learning, food, clothing, and how people make their own choices. Our goal was to show Islam with accuracy and respect, and to help you guys understand its diversity. And now for our interview.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Ali. First, let me say before we get started, all praise be to Allah. What are common misconceptions about being Islamic, Muslim? One very common misconception is that Islam promotes violence, when in reality, the core teachings of the Quran emphasize peace, compassion, and justice. Another misconception is that all Muslims come from the Middle East, even though the Muslim community is incredibly diverse and spread across every continent. Many people also assume that Muslim women, for some reason, are oppressed because of how they dress and with the hijab, and they cover their face. But for the most, modesty is a personal and a spiritual choice rooted in their faith. What is the experience and or challenges of being a Muslim in America? Well, that's a very good question. You know, every day I have to walk around and people look at me a certain way because of how I look. Being a Muslim in America can be both rewarding and very challenging, I have to be honest. On one hand, we appreciate the freedom to practice our religion. On the other hand, misunderstanding and stereotypes and sometimes lead to people judging us before they truly get to know us. Many other Muslims too, not just me, have experienced moments where they feel they need to explain or defend their identity just because of all the terrorism going on around the world. Especially after the negative media portrayals. For some reason, people think that just because you are Islam, that you are associated with a terrorist organization. I don't know why they think that. I have no clue. Even so, Muslims across America continue to build strong communities and contribute very positively to society. What is your daily routine like regarding fasting and prayer? My daily routine is centered around the 5 daily prayers. They help structure my day, remind me to stay grounded. And when it is Ramadan, fasting becomes part of the routine as well. I wake up before dawn for suhoor, a pre-fast meal that continues until sunset, focusing on patience, on charity, and spiritual reflection. Prayer during the outside of Ramadan reminds me of God's presence and gives me the feeling of Allah balancing in my daily responsibilities. What is Islamophobia? Islamophobia is the fear or the hatred, discrimination toward Islam or Muslims. It is often from misinformation, stereotypes, or negative portrayals of Muslims in the media. Islamophobia can show up socially, politically, or even through acts of violence. Combating it requires education, empathy, and understanding. For some reason, society seems to think that there's a disproportionate of terror activity that comes from Muslims. Now, I don't know where they get that from. That's crazy, you know. How do you see Islam adapting to modern life and technology? Islam has always encouraged learning, innovation, and the use of tools that benefit humanity. Today, Muslims use technology for everything from accessing religious classes online to tracking prayer times and reading the Quran. The values of Islam, such as honesty, kindness, responsibility, fit naturally into modern life. How would you recommend that younger Muslims stay connected to their faith? I encourage the younger Muslims to stay connected by finding a supportive community, whether through a mosque, a youth group, or the online, the chat rooms they do now. I mean, I don't know. I'm an older guy, but the technology now, there's so much out there for these guys, you know, with the apps and everything else, keeping good company. So, what do you wish more people to understand about Islam? I wish that more people would understood Islam is a faith based on mercy, peace, and service to others, and definitely not violence. We are not violent people at all. It is not just a set of rules, but a complete way of life that encourages kindness, fairness, and family values. How has your faith influenced your personal or professional goals? Well, my faith, it guides me with integrity, patience, and compassion in all areas of life. What do you find most beautiful or meaningful about your faith? What I find most beautiful is the sense of peace and purpose that Islam gives, the connection to prayer and the guidance of the Quran, and the emphasis on mercy and forgiveness. I hope this helps your project, Mr. Garrett, and all praise be to Allah, and Allah Akbar. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.